Hi everyone. It really is a pleasure to be here talking to so many of you today. A bit daunting as well. There's loads of you, but yeah, thank you for having me and thanks for the invite. I really appreciate it. So I am Joe Ackland. I'm from the Companero's Crisis Cafe in Birkenhead, um, and I've had the pleasure of managing it now since opening last September 2021. So we've been open 14 months. We've seen over 1,000 people enroll into the cafe since then, which obviously shows that there's a massive need for it in Birkenhead. Um, so what is Companero's? So Companero's Crisis Cafe is situated in Birkenhead. It's a safe space for people who are struggling with emotional and psychological distress, and who consider themselves to be in a self-defined crisis. We're a non-clinical and creative alternative to the traditional pathway for people who need help and support in crisis. Companeros is a calming environment with access to one-to-one crisis intervention, wellbeing recovery projects, creative arts, and other essential social and emotional support. We're open 10 till 10, 365 days a year. So if you did want to pop in at Christmas, make sure you bring a mince pie. I'm sure the members will enjoy that. Essentially, we're a bit of a Costa for people that are in crisis. So you can come in, you can get a tea and coffee. Fortunately, we don't charge £4 a coffee. You can have your two coffees for free when you come in, and you'll speak to one of our crisis response workers. And as new presentations get priority, the last thing we want is people coming to the cafe and leaving before we've got any details to be able to speak to them. So the services that we offer, services we offer is one-to-one crisis response. This may include de-escalating initial crisis, suicide safety planning, signposting, and also giving tools to help, such as breathing exercises and grounding techniques. We are a social prescribing service, so we will refer externally to our partners and assets. And we offer creative recovery activities. So we are run by the Spider Project, and we do carry their ethos of creative recovery. So we have a packed timetable of activities to do with arts, music, culture, drama, heritage, and physical exercise as well. We also offer accredited courses and qualifications and referrals to therapeutic and clinical services. So that's what Companero's Crisis Cafe does. Now, the reason I've been invited to talk to you today is to discuss men's mental health and emotional well-being, and how we can promote hope through action to combat the stigma of men's mental health and to promote an inclusive environment which encourages men to talk and actively seek mental health support. Now, I've got a few stats as well, and I hope they're right. I'm sure Ruth will let me know at the end. So now, as you can see from this slide, males are still over 3 times more likely to take their own life than females. This is on trend for previous years, and despite the big push to break stigmas and encourage men to talk. In addition, men aged 45 to 54 are the most likely to take their own lives, with men aged 45 to 50 in particular being the most at-risk age and gender group. However, despite these numbers, research shows that men are far less likely to access mental health support. In England, in 2020, only 36% of NHS talking therapies were actually for men. So why don't we talk about men's mental health? Well, this is a subject that's been discussed and studied in depth in recent years. Society's expectations and traditional gender roles play a role in why men are less likely to discuss or seek help for their mental health problems. We know that gender stereotypes can cause damage to women, and the idea they should behave or look or act in a certain way, but it can also be damaging to men as well. It's important to understand that men can be damaged by stereotypes and expectations and by putting a lot of pressure on themselves. For instance, even in 2022, there's an expectation for men themselves to be the so-called breadwinners, to be strong, dominant, and in control. While these aren't inherently bad things, they can make it harder for men to reach out and open up. Worryingly, with the cost of living crisis upon us, these expectations could add further pressure onto men to provide. Some research also suggests that men who can't speak openly about their emotions may be less able to recognise symptoms of mental health problems and less likely to reach out for support. Men may also be more likely to use potential harming coping methods, such as drugs and alcohol misuse, and less likely to talk to family or friends about their mental health. However, there is hope. As we are finding at Compañeros, research suggests that men will access help that meets their preferences and is easy to access, meaningful and engaging. While men may find it harder to access clinical services, they're generally more open to social groups that are targeted at specific interests. As you can see from this slide, Compañeros has managed to buck the trend, with 49.5% of our 640 full enrolments being male. At Spider Projects Move On Up projects and abstinence-based programs, approximately 70% of their membership are male. We spoke earlier about 45 to 54-year-olds being the age range most at risk of suicide. That is also the most popular age range of members who have enrolled at the café. And in fact, just under a third of our membership are aged 45 to 54, whereas the other age groups between 18 to 65 are spread very evenly. Interestingly, 43% of our activity engagement is also male. We believe this success to be down to a multitude of factors, which I'll discuss on the next slide. Now, this year's theme is creating hope through action. This is something that I feel very strongly about. We talk about men's mental health and we talk about breaking stigmas, but let's create hope through action. Let's put our heads together and make a positive change, and one that can save lives. None of us have a magic wand, but all of us will have an idea. So let's put those ideas together, and I think that's what's so important about events like these. You know, it's really important that we all talk and we all share our ideas. Now, in the build-up to this presentation, I discussed with the staff at Compañeros why they feel we have been so successful in reaching out to so many males, and also what we could be doing better to support them while they're at the cafe. Maybe it's just that men are more likely to access third sector services over clinical services, and some of you here will probably be able to confirm that. But however, I would like to share some of the actions that Compañeros and Spider Projects in general have been taking to support our male members. Now, firstly, and most importantly, let's create member-led environments. What else can be more powerful than asking men what they want to do? What support is missing from our communities, and what are the needs of men in particular? A member-led environment promotes a sense of belonging, a sense of identity, and promotes social interaction. It also builds a community, and sometimes that can be enough. That can be the void that's missing, just being part of a community. It's one of our values as a Spider Project, and we feel very strongly about it. Now, by utilising the men's forum, men feel empowered to make a difference to the support they receive and their environments as a whole. Again, the men's forum can give men a voice and force real change for those involved. Mine's Lived Experience Network, and Sean will be speaking to you in a bit, is another perfect example of giving people a voice. We've created an ambassador program with Amigos, and we've got Roxy over here, who was our first Amigo, so give Roxy a little wave. And our Amigos will be helping shape the way that we support people at Compañeros. Creative recovery is at the heartbeat of the Spider Projects and plays a huge role in suicide or crisis prevention at Compañeros. Creative recovery for us isn't just about painting pictures, colouring books. It's about us as staff being creative and how we support those in crisis. This is the greatest way to connect with our membership, to find out what they're into and to create ways which enable them to express themselves. At Spider and Compañeros, members can try things that they would never have dreamt of trying. Whether that's through music, arts, culture or heritage, the sense of achievement through learning can be vital in recovery. So it's imperative that professionals find creative and inspiring ways to engage men. Breaking the stigma is a term that we all use quite a lot. It's used very often in studies. But how do we do this? Normalising mental health goes a long way. But treating mental health on the same level as we see physical health issues would go some way. But how do we actually get men through our doors? At Compañeros, we are looking to pilot some targeted outreach with grassroots football teams. Our Achilles heel programme will go to Sunday league teams, and we can welcome them through our Compañeros doors to give them a tour of the building and present the work that we do. And in return, we're working with UEFA A licensed coaches who can offer services free of charge for those who engage. Now, Spider as an organisation has had great success in targeted outreach work. They have partnerships such as the one with Tranmere Rovers, which are aimed at men accessing the service. If we aren't getting men accessing these services, we need to go out and get them. We all know that seeing a poster or flyer is nothing like face-to-face interaction. Now, we discussed men's forums earlier, and many places offer men's groups, which is something that we found a lot of demand for at the cafe. However, the intergender and intergenerational groups and activities have gone a long way in battling anxiety for some men who attend the cafe. Some member feedback we've received was that some of our male members felt nervous around females, especially those who are younger, and even more so around members who are non-binary or trans. They were worried about upsetting them and coming across badly or ignorant. By promoting intergendered and intergenerational groups, our male members have grown in confidence and feel a lot more equipped to speak to other genders. Now, my final word is on the theme of creating hope through action. What are we going to do in our daily lives to create hope through action? I would urge everyone to take action by doing the following. Firstly, talk. Talk to men, ask them if they're okay, ask them what their needs are, ask them if they feel comfortable talking about mental health, ask them if they are aware of the support services in their local areas. Don't be afraid to ask for help, and don't be afraid to encourage men to seek help. Now, secondly, be creative. Think outside the box. If you're a professional and you aren't seeing men come through the door, find out why. Create new ways to engage men. If it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. Dust yourself off, put your heads together and start something new. Now, lastly, let's work together. Work in partnerships, create groups, build communities, and start listening to the needs of men. So let's create hope through action and let's make a difference. Thanks for listening. I'm going to pass you on to Sean. Thank you.